What's up, YouTubers? Red Crimson Gaming here, man. Listen, man, we're gonna clear the air right now about the Nintendo Switch 2 video game prices, man. Okay, there's a lot of bad press going out there, a lot of haters out there trying to say that the Nintendo Switch games are too expensive. They're like $90 and $80. First of all, Switch 2 games are not $90. They are $60 and $70 and $80 at the most. The $80 games will be the S tier games, something similar to like Zelda, for example. But of course, Zelda's not going to be $80. I'm just saying the games that Nintendo felt are worth it, like Mario Kart World. They put so much into this game. There's so much new features, the graphics, the frame rates. It's a big game, a huge game. Nintendo felt like this game was worth $80. So every game is not going to cost $80. The price will remain the same, just like they are in the current generation, in $60, $70, and $80 increments. Let's say it again. $80 is for the S tier games, the games that they put a lot of production time into it, where you're getting everything to the point where you don't even need DLC. As you can see, Street Fighter is $60. You have the Bravely Default, even though it's an old 3DS game, is $40. So I don't know where all this hate is coming from. People just want to see Nintendo fail, man. I mean, the Switch hate is real. So I'm clearing the air right now, guys. Stop listening to these paid journalists and paid YouTubers that is getting upset because they know the Switch 2 is going to be a Switch 2 takeover, and that's it. So they're trying to get as many people deterred from not getting the system. So there it is, guys. $60, $70, and $80 for the top tier games. Not every first party title from Nintendo is going to be $80. Not every game from third party developers is going to be $80. Because look at Cyberpunk, for example, for the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be $70. And as time goes on, those games are going to drop in prices as well to $40, $50, even $20. As time goes on, when the games gets older, people trade it in and the games loses its value. Now, moving along, let's talk about those good old Nintendo Switch 2 boxes. Now, I've heard one or two people complaining that they do not like the Switch 2 boxes, but they kind of getting warmed up to it. Actually, when I first seen the Switch 2 boxes, I loved it. Red is my favorite color, because I told you, man, Nintendo made this system for your boy. How many times I gotta tell you guys that, man? Red Crimson Gaming, baby. Yo, listen, man. I'm kind of surprised Nintendo didn't even do this for the original Switch. But listen, man, Nintendo got their foot on the gas right now. They got the foot on the pedal. And listen, I love the red box art, man, for the Nintendo Switch 2. The red packaging is so premium now. It doesn't look cheap and flimsy. Well, the original Switch boxes, they weren't flimsy, but the quality of these Switch 2 red boxes look more premium, guys. And somebody was saying they don't love the big Switch 2 logo in the top middle of the box. That doesn't make any sense. If you look at Sony and Xbox with the Series X and the PS5, they did the same thing. Sony has the big strip, that white bar, that white strip going across that says PS5 in bold letters. Xbox Series X, same thing. Green, bold letters. Xbox. So Nintendo is following suit. They're letting customers know so they can easily pinpoint a Switch 2 game. They're really trying to differentiate the Switch 2 box to not cause confusion with the original Switch. Because if you look at the original Switch boxing, for example, like here, it's a little Switch icon in the corner. You can barely see it. But with the Switch 2, they have the big Switch 2 right here. It looks lovely. The box just look more premium. They have like the art goes all the way into the spine. I'm loving it, man. So Nintendo want to make it be clear to the grandmas, to the parents, anybody for that matter that wants to go in there and buy a Switch 2 for their loved one, their kids, or whoever, right? As soon as they go in there, they see that big, bold Switch 2 symbol right in the middle on the top of the Switch 2 box art, and it's all in red. So when you see that all red cartridge with a big Switch 2 number in the top, baby, you know that's the Switch 2. Now, let's talk about those game key cards. the game key card conversation keeps on rearing its ugly head. So we're gonna clear the air, finally understand. Hopefully it'll be buried, that game key card conversation, and it'll be explained in its entirety so you guys can clearly understand. Oh, okay, now listen, we all know the game key cards for the Nintendo Switch 2 basically replaces the code in the box you would see on GameStop store shelves and some retailer store shelves. You know, when you look at the box, it says download required. Sometimes it's on a 2 GB cartridge, and sometimes it's a download code in there, like a Fortnite game, for example. So basically, the game key card replaces those code in a box. So basically, it acts like a cartridge instead of a code in the box. So basically, you buy that key. Excuse me, guys. You buy that game key card. You take it home. It basically acts as a license. Say, hey, you know what? This guy bought this game. It allows you to download that game. And you can also take that same cartridge and loan it to your friend, and they can download the game and they can play it for free. Understand now? Get it? So, and there are also false rumors going on that, oh, you know, Nintendo's going all digital. They shafting, you know, the game collectors. They're the last bastion for cartridges, and they're pushing us towards digital. No, not really, guys. So now that I explained the game key card to you and what it is, it's basically just a license key on the cartridge that allows you to download that game to your console, and even if you loan to your friend could do the same thing as well. That's definitely separated from what the actual cartridges are. So the actual cartridges are the red cartridges. Now these red cartridges are the new cartridges, 64 GB cartridges that Nintendo is using. That is their standard, and that should be more than enough to fit all Switch 2 games for the most part right now, because most games on Nintendo Switch doesn't even take up that much space. Mario Kart World only takes up 24.5 gigs, guys. So 64 gigs seems like an overkill, but it all depends on how publishers, third-party publishers, compress their games. And I know they got spoiled with the Xbox and the PlayStation, where they can just put the raw game in its entirety on the disc, and it fills up the disc a lot faster because of the high capacity of the Blu-ray disc. They don't need to compress the games. But with Nintendo, what they should do is if they compress those games just right, get rid of all those files that really don't need, the game shouldn't even be 60 gigs at all, let alone 50 gigabytes at all. And keep in mind that even though the Switch is capable of 4K, it's not native 4K, so you're not getting the raw 4K on the console. So the games are probably the same size resolution wise as the standard Switch, because the Switch 2 games are going to be running, I mean, don't quote me on this, guys, I'm just saying, for example, you know, 540p, 720p upscale to 1440p, 1080p upscale to 4K. So remember, the system is doing the upscaling, so you're not using a whole bunch of gigabytes anyway. So basically, it's just a 720p, 1080p game, realistically, which doesn't take up a lot of gigs. We've seen it on the original Switch, where the games are what? Even a 720p, 1080p game, if you will, it's probably like 4 gigs, guys, 6 gigs. 10 gigs, you're not going to use up that 64 gigabyte cartridge. So the Switch 2 basically is just still running games at 540p, 720p, 1080p, but the system is upscaling it to 4K. Get what I'm saying? So there you have it. So it shouldn't use up 64 gigabytes at all. So now that we know the difference from the game key cards, that's basically replaces the code in the box, but have a cartridge where you can download the games to any system. And the red cartridges, which are the official cartridges with the full game data on it, is totally different, guys. So I hope that clears the air. And lastly, I want to end this video by talking about, you know, I was watching IGN. We all know IGN are assholes anyway. I'm not hating on them, you know, but I was watching an interview, man, it didn't make any sense. So it's so funny to me how the Switch hate is real, because when the original Switch came out, coming off of the failure of the Wii U, nobody believed in Nintendo, nobody believed in Nintendo Switch, so developers didn't support it out of the gate. Nintendo had to carry the system on their back with Zelda, and Nintendo prove themselves. Now, people know Nintendo for being family friendly. You know, anybody can play their systems, and I guess that image has been in a lot of people's minds for a very long time. Now, we know what the Switch is about. We know who's buying the Switch. Everybody likes the Switch. Everybody bought the Switch. Everybody just loves it, right? Now, so I'm listening to IGN. I'm watching their podcast. So the guy says he walked away unimpressed with the Switch 2. He said, okay, we played Cyberpunk on the system. They have Elden Ring. They have all these games that were on PS5, AAA games that the Nintendo Switch missed due to, you know, memory constraints, and you know, the system is, you know, kind of outdated. It was underpowered, right? So he's like, okay, I walked away unimpressed because I don't know who the Switch 2 target audience is, because we know Nintendo for being family friendly. Like, this guy just an asshole, man. He doesn't make any sense, and Nintendo can't win for nothing. Listen, man, the Switch 2 is clear cut. It's for everyone, just like the original Switch was. Nintendo as a whole is for everyone. Sony came along because they're in competition with Nintendo, and they wanted to drag people away from Nintendo, so they painted a narrative for people to run with, saying that Nintendo is for kids. Nintendo's not for kids. Nintendo's for everybody, man. If you want to be real, video games as a whole is for kids. It doesn't matter what system you play on, PC, Steam Deck, Sony, Xbox, they all have games for kids. It's the same thing, man. Like, I don't understand, like, what's a kiddie game and what's a mature game? It doesn't have to have blood in there, and it doesn't have to have violence in there for it to be a game for the adults. When you take your kids to Chuck E. Cheese, you don't leave them there for 2 hours and say, have fun, we'll be back. You go ahead and you participate with your kids, you play the games with your kids, and you have fun, right? So an adult can't have fun playing video games, so don't single Nintendo out as a kiddie console. You might as well say PlayStation's for kids, Xbox for kids, because they're video games as a whole is for kids. If you Google are video games for kids, it will say yes, video games are for kids. But does that mean that adults can enjoy it? No. So the Switch 2 target audience is the same audience all along. Everyone. Nintendo makes games for everyone, and that's why they're winning. So this guy talking about, oh, the Switch 2 only sold because it was family friendly, it was cheap, and the first party titles. That's only half of it, man. Matter of fact, that's a quarter of it. The reason why the Switch sold, because it was a phenomenal system, a great idea that Valve and all these PC manufacturers are now chasing. So if Nintendo's for kids, why would you chase the Switch dream? Come on, guys, give Nintendo their flowers where it's due. The Switch is the greatest console and the greatest idea in the past 8 years. And even Sony right now is asking their fans, what do they think about the Switch 2? Meaning they want to copy the Switch 2 success. Just like how Xbox wants it. They want that Nintendo crowd, so they come out with a handheld. But it's much more than just making a handheld, guys. It's what Nintendo stands for. The games they make, the quality, the fun factor, the evergreen titles, man. That's what it's all about. So, just to wrap this conversation up, because I don't want to make it too long, guys. The Switch 2 target audience is the same as the original Switch, the same as every other Nintendo console. Fun for everyone. The reason why you're seeing titles like Final Fantasy VII, Cyberpunk, for example, Elden Ring, all those AAA games, right? It's because Nintendo knows that people want it. They want to bring everybody in. They already have the families. They already have the kids, the grandmas. They have everybody. Now they want the Sony crowd, the Xbox crowd, the PC crowd. They want everybody to join in on the fun. That's it. That's why those games are there. So if you already played Cyberpunk, you already played Elden Ring, and you feel as if it's too late, okay, fine. But guess what? There's a lot of Nintendo fans out there who has Nintendo system, who has a Switch, who wish they could play those games. Well, I'm not going to say wish, but would love to play those games on their system. Those games doesn't make or break Nintendo. They sold 150 million without those games, which is proof that Nintendo was the best. Because Sony and Xbox, they wouldn't thrive without games like that. They wouldn't thrive without Call of Duty. They need those games. So if you have a company that's using less powerful hardware and they're using their own first-party titles, gimmicks, fun gimmicks at that, and just fun overall quality gameplay, that proves that that company is better, hands down. You see the Terminator movies, right? Every Terminator movie you watch, they had different Terminators that were more advanced than T2, but who kept on winning? T2. The old model kept on beating the new models. So then the old model is just better. So they just keep, you know what? If I'm a Terminator, if I'm a Terminator maker, keep on pumping out those T2s because they are the best models. And that's the same situation here with Nintendo. So they're trying to get everybody in on their system. They got everybody else. Now they're coming for that Sony and the Xbox crowd. They're cornering the market because the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct was actually clear cut. When I seen all those games that was on PlayStation and Xbox and PC, that just told me one thing. Nintendo has every angle covered. They want everybody in the world that plays video games and who do not play video games to play on their system. So now that they have these games, you don't need the Xboxes anymore. You don't need the PlayStations anymore. You don't need the PS Portal. You don't need a PSP. You don't need a Steam Deck. All you need is the Switch 2. And a lot of people are afraid of the Switch 2 takeover, but I'm sorry, it's going to happen. The original Switch, OG Switch, destroyed everything, and the Switch 2 is going to continue to carry that torch. And you all journalists and YouTubers that are getting perks from these companies are butthurt because you're unfair that, you know what, my PlayStation 5, my PS5 Pro, even PS6 is going to be obsolete when it comes out because of this Nintendo Switch system that the company that I never liked before. That's all it is, guys. And to wrap this up, I know I said this before, but I'm serious this time. To end the conversation, man, on the IGN podcast, so the guy, he said Nintendo spent 7 minutes talking about the chat like it was something new. This guy is hilarious, man. Well, not because we all were talking on our Xboxes since, I don't know, the original Xbox, but I'm gonna go as far back as 360, right? I mean, chat is nothing new, and it's nothing new for Nintendo either, because the DS had chat. They had built-in chat. They had online. The Wii had online. The Wii U had online. They had the Wii Speak. They just didn't push it as much, because one thing about Nintendo, man, they don't want to do the same thing that everybody else is doing, and that's where they're winning, because they're in their own lane. You know what I'm saying? Nintendo just giving us chat because it's just the smartest thing to do. Everything. That's all it is, guys. It's the smartest thing to do. They're giving you everything. If you watch the Direct, they're giving you everything. You have the chat, the adult AAA M-rated games, so you don't have to go to the other systems. That's why they're doing this, guy. It's there if you want to use it. You don't have to use it, because Nintendo originally, they want you to sit on the same couch in the same room with your friends and family. You can look at your friends, your family, left and right, see their facial expression when they win a match or when they lost a match, and you pass the controllers around. That's like we did back in the days. I mean, having physical social contact is actually better than talking to some pedophile you can't see online. You'll never know who you're talking to online. So the camera for the Nintendo Switch, they demonstrated, like, yo, listen, they have to explain to you what it is. Don't tell me, oh, after the Direct, you can go on Nintendo.com and get more details about it, because even if they did that, you still would have said, oh, why didn't they just explain it? It's always an excuse when it comes to Nintendo. I noticed that with people. When you complain about all these AAA games, the Madden, the Elden Rings, the Call of Duty's not on Switch, you complain it's a trash system. This is even have Call of Duty. Like, they need Call of Duty to sell. But as soon as they announce that those games are on Switch 2, all of a sudden, oh man, y'all getting those old games? Y'all just now getting that old game? Come on, man, it's damage control. The Direct was just clear and cut. Nintendo is trying to corner the market. They're going to take the market back like how they had it. Remember when they had a video game market in the chokehold in the 90s? They had everything. All these companies were birthed on Nintendo platforms. Did you know that the creator of GTA, the company Rockstar, they actually started with Nintendo on that video game for N64 called Body Harvest, that developed into Rockstar or whatever company that's in charge of GTA. And I wouldn't be surprised if GTA 6 ends up on the Switch. It needs to be on the Switch. Rockstar says they have Nintendo's full support. And because even Rockstar see that takeover. Because when I had an original Switch, actually I had an original Switch, I still play the Switch. It's my favorite system, boy. Matter of fact, show you guys what's up, man. I got all that, man. You guys want to talk that shit? We can talk shit all day. This is the ROG Ally X. I got all that. I got 3 Steam Decks, the launch LCD model and both OLED models. Right here on my shelf. I'm not trying to bring the camera down, but if you look closely right here where I'm pointing, you see all these cases? That's to the original ROG Ally. So I pretty much, and I have a Legion Go. I mean, come on, guys, like, what are we doing here? What are we talking about here? You want to talk that shit? We can talk that shit all day. We can talk that shit all day. Legion Go, I got all that. And I'm still sitting here, I'm still standing here telling you that this is the best fucking system to ever come out, man. You see that on the back? That's the best fucking system to ever come out. And I just showed you all those PC handhelds. Now, some of them are asking, yo, Red Crimson, so why, if the Switch is so great, why you have all those systems? Yo, I'm a gamer. I game on anything that has a screen. I'm not biased. The reason why I'm telling you the Switch is better, because I've played all these systems, so I can tell you their pros and cons. Nobody wants to tinker with settings just to get the right frame rate to play the game. That shit is stupid to me. Oh, the Steam Deck is niche. So why is a billion dollar company or $1 million company is going to invest in a niche product to not make, knowing they're not making the money? If you're going to make a product to the masses, your whole objective is to make money, not lose money. It's always an excuse, man. All these PC handhelds, they're trash. They sound good on paper, but in practice, they are trash. The battery life is terrible. Oh, the Switch 2 has terrible battery life. Well, what do you expect? Why do you think Nintendo downclocked the chip for the original Switch so you can play AAA games 5-6 hours, man? But since you want to be, since you guys want to be an asshole, how about this? You know that Nintendo always makes updated iterations of their handhelds, right? You actually think that Nintendo's going to sit back and maybe, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 years from now, not make a more powerful, efficient Switch 2, a OLED Switch 2, with 40 watts or better battery life, and probably even throw more gigs of RAM in there. Oh, that's coming. It's a no-brainer. Nintendo is going to see how this system does, and we all know it's going to do great. So, yeah, man, so Nintendo's doing all this, man, because they're cornering the market. It was pretty clear-cut, the direct. The video chat is cool. I don't care if it's 1080p, choppy 1080p. I don't care about that. It only gets choppy like that when you have multiple screens up. But at the end of the day, you can still see who you are talking to. Maybe if you have 1 or 2 screens up, it may not look as choppy. But either way, as long as I can see who the hell I'm talking to, I'm cool. So that's a cool feature, man. So this video went on much longer than I wanted it to, but I just really wanted to get my point across. And I'm one of those guys, when I'm trying to get my point across, I'm going to get my point across. So I hope I cleared the air on the game key cards, and it's different from the red cartridges that Nintendo have with the full games on there. I hope I cleared the air with the prices of a Nintendo Switch 2 games. And speaking of prices and all the negative backlash that Nintendo has been getting, and those are from people that's hating, by the way, like I said, people who are getting paid to spread bad press about Nintendo. That cannot stop Nintendo. You know why? With the high pricing, the Switch 2 is already sold out in Europe. It's sold out in minutes. Not hours, not days, not weeks, but minutes. And you have Sony talking about now they want to make a handheld. Xbox want to make a handheld. Steam Deck 2. Let's see what Nintendo Switch did with the Switch 2. So now they're trying to probably make another one. All those systems are going to fail, man. If the Nintendo Switch 2 was such a massive failure before release, nobody would try to copy them. And that's just what it is, man. Red Crimson. Nintendo got the sniper rifle on y'all. They got the sniper rifle on Sony head, Xbox head. Well, Xbox already out of it. Valve like, sir, we got him. Should we take the shot? Nintendo like, nah, let him live. Let's hold position. Hold position. Don't squeeze that trigger yet. And this is not a hate to Sony fans. Listen, man. I just love all things gaming, man. But Xbox is done. I don't. PlayStation is following right in Microsoft footsteps. Microsoft set the trap for them. So, but I don't know. I don't have no beef with Sony. They just need to do their own thing and start trying to copy Nintendo. Start trying to copy from the best. But PlayStation is boring. I don't touch my PlayStation. It's sitting right over there with a blue sheet over it, so it don't get that much dust on there. But anyway, guys, hope I cleared the air. If you're new to my channel, like and subscribe. I don't know why I'm happy today. For some strange reason, I'm happy today. Maybe I got some good rest. That's probably what it is. That's probably what it is. Nintendo for life. I cannot wait until the Switch 2 drop. I just want to play it right now, man. I ain't even gonna put no little fancy videos in here and all that. I'm gonna just let this footage go raw and uncut. Well, maybe I might put like a little screen of some gameplay in the corner. I don't know, man. I just wanted to come with you guys raw and uncut like I always do, man. Like and subscribe. Red Crimson. I'm out of here. Nintendo for life, boy. Oh, matter of fact. Damn, man. It's like Red Crimson, you don't want to leave. Man, you know what, guys? You know what? I don't know. Maybe I should say that. Maybe I should say that for the next content or something. You know. I don't know. I don't have no time to put a lot of input into my videos because I'm just so busy, man. But I guess I don't know. I'll probably turn the camera back on and tell you what I'm gonna get for that Switch 2 when it drop. Alright, guys. Red Crimson. Peace. Make sure you like and subscribe, alright?